Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the railway once again, and welcome back to another Wrenn unboxing. And this one is quite special because I've got a couple of 264 tank engines to unbox for you, and one of them in particular is quite a rarity. So I'm just going to pick up the boxes then. It's this one and this one. And if I hold those up there, as always the boxes don't really give very much away at all, but yeah, these are a couple of 264 tank engines as I said, and I'm going to get them unboxed right now for you. Okay, so here they are then. Here's the two boxes, and I'm going to open this one first just because that's the least rare one, and I'll get onto the rarer one in just a moment. But yeah, as you can see, it's the standard Wrenn packaging, just in the sort of smaller form factor this time really, but that's all. On the end of the box you can see the product code there, which is W2219 264 tank LMS, as you can see there, and it doesn't actually tell you the class of locomotive, which is strange, but as you'll see, hang on, let me just get this open. Because it is in the LMS livery, as you can see, it's going to be the Fowler 264 tank, isn't it? And it won't be the BR Standard Class 4, of course, because that wouldn't have been in this LMS maroon livery with the LMS written on the side there. So I assume, even though I'm not too sure, I assume it will be Fowler's 264 tank by Henry Fowler, of course. But yeah, let me get this one out. Well, first I'll show you the instructions actually. Now I have looked at these very briefly before, but as you can see there, these are nice, and I've said it before, they really are nicely written. The language in these is really old-fashioned, and it just makes quite an entertaining read through. And of course, if you do read through it, you'll be all the wiser about how these locos fit together and how to service them and whatnot. So yeah, I can definitely recommend looking through these manuals. They're really interesting, but not as interesting as the locos, of course. So let's get this one out to start with. And as you can see, it is the 264 as the box suggested. And as I say, I do think it is the Fowler one. But yeah, as you can see, really nice little loco. This one's running number 2679, as you can see, and it weighs an absolute ton, it really does. And I'm going to do some pulling power tests with this in the coming weeks. Well, next week I think. But yeah, there it is, beautiful loco. And I'll just put this box back together with the manual and stuff. And I'll move this one out of the way as well. There we go, and I'll get onto this one. Now this box looks a little bit different, as you'll notice, and that's because I made this one myself, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a moment. But yeah, as you can see on the label, this one's W2245 264 tank in the Southern Green, and yeah, that is quite a rare livery. It is pretty rare. It's not the rarest Wrenn loco in the world, but it's fairly sought after this. Now I got this one really cheap. In fact, I got it cheaper than this maroon one because the seller said, well, mistakenly, that it was mint in box. Now the loco is mint, it is absolutely mint, but it wasn't in its box. So he actually gave me a refund of quite a lot of money, which made this cost only £55, would you believe? And it's normally worth at least double that in this livery. But let me show you the livery anyway. Oh, and the box is coming off. So yeah, as you can see, I just made the box myself. I just thought I'd make one. So I took some scans of this box and just basically printed out a new box on some card. The colour isn't quite right, but you know, I just did it for a bit of fun really, and I did enjoy doing it. And I made the cardboard insert as well, as you can see, in its entirety. So let me just try and get that up for you. There we go. And there's the logo. It is an absolutely beautiful livery. Southern 1927, as you can see, is the running number. But yeah, let me get this one out, and it is in absolutely beautiful condition. It's quite unusual to see them in such good condition. But it does beg the question, of course, as, you know, what is the class of this? Because it's not going to be the LMS Fowler loco, even though it is absolutely identical to this. But I can't imagine that the Southern Railway would have gotten their hands on any LMS locomotives. So why it's in the Southern livery, I don't know. It's very strange, isn't it? So I can only assume that this is supposed to be the Southern, I think it was a W class, wasn't it? Which was also a 264 tank. But it is identical to the LMS one, so it's really quite odd, that is. And of course it won't be the BR Standard Class 4 once again, because it's not in the BR livery, it's in Southern livery. So yeah, it's a little bit strange. I'm wondering if Wrenn perhaps just decided to produce one in the Southern livery so that they would be able to sell them, you know, to those who enjoy the Southern region. But yeah, that's very odd, isn't it? But it is very, very lovely, and I believe Wrenn did a Great Western one as well, which again would have been unrealistic. But I don't know, maybe some of you guys can shed some light on that. Maybe there was a Southern engine just like this. and indeed just like the LMS one as well. But yeah, there it is anyway. It's just the same thing really, just in a gorgeous southern green livery. It weighs an absolute ton, and I think this is the one I'm going to review up on the white background. But first I will tell you a little bit of info about the LMS Fowler 264, which I believe is this anyway, just in an incorrect livery. But yeah, so the LMS Fowler 264 tank engine was designed by Henry Fowler, as I think I've already said, and it was introduced first of all in 1927, and they were mostly used for passenger work, and they were later classified as 4Ps, I believe, and they did that around the London area, just with commuter trains and whatnot. And some actually did pull good trains in their time, and I'm not too sure what those circumstances were, but they were sort of mixed traffic, I suppose you could say. And 125 were built, which is quite incredible really, and sadly all were scrapped and none were preserved. But luckily the similar BR standard class 4 tank engine still has quite a few of those in preservation. There's 15 of those still preserved, but I don't think I have any of those. I've just got the LMS ones, but they were very similar, I'm told. So yep, that's a little bit of info. Let's get on to the review then of the Wrenn version. So there she is then, the southern one, running number 1927, up against the white background for you, looking absolutely beautiful. Now originally I wasn't going to buy this southern one at all. I did want to get one to go alongside my LMS red one, but I just assumed that this southern one, in the southern livery of course, was just going to be well out of my price range, especially in mint condition. So what I was actually looking for was the LMS black version. Which, don't get me wrong, is very nice, but I would have always preferred this one. But anyway, I saw this one in an auction, and the price wasn't all that high, so I bid for it and got it. And then, of course, the seller volunteered to give me a little bit back because of the description being wrong. So I've really got this for a bargain price. And I'm, you know, with hindsight, I am really glad, because just look at the livery. The lining on the boiler there is just absolutely stunning. And I hope no LMS fans mind me saying this, but I do think this livery is absolutely gorgeous. Probably more so than the LMS one, even though it might not have even been real, you know, in this livery. But yeah, because it's cast metal, of course, the moulded detail isn't going to be quite the same as it is on plastic models. Having said that, it's really not that bad. You can see quite clearly the little cap there where the water would go into the tank, and there's all sorts of other little moulded parts there into the casting, as you can see. But having said that, there's quite a few separately fitted parts as well. Of course, you've got the standard safety valves on the top there, and little handrails along the sides, and I think also the buffers are separately fitted. The whole buffers are separately fitted, I think, but they're also painted nicely as well. And while we're on the front buffer beam, you can see it's a very detailed thing. It does have a coupling hook on there, and it's also got the running number, which is 1927 of course, and loads of rivets on there as well. Other than that though, the detail is quite simple. Obviously there's nothing in the cab because that's where the motor is housed, and there's really not a lot more space. The coal is quite simple. It's really quite chunky, and it's really quite difficult to replace as well. It's obviously not removable. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could cut it out, but you would need some serious tools for that. But also it would probably weaken the body, and that's something you don't really want to do. I'll show you the wheel set then. It's all metal wheels, as you can see right there. And the linkage is reasonably sophisticated, as you can see there, and it really does look fantastic when it's running, as you will see in not too long. And also the valve chest has the double white stripes on it as well, which is really lovely. I just think the livery on this is stunning. So there you go. Hopefully that was a close look. I won't spend too long lingering on this, because I want to get them running. But essentially the LMS version is the same as this. It's got the exact same moulding, it's just a slightly different paint job, of course. Alright, well that's it then, a stunning loco. Let's get them both onto the tracks and get them running, shall we? Okay, so there's the Southern Wrenn 264 locomotive down onto the rails, as you can see. Really lovely thing, and I'll get that running in just a moment, but I thought I would just let you know, I think I made a bit of a mistake earlier. Now I was saying I thought these were the Fowler 264 tanks from the LMS. Now I've actually got my Hornby Fowler 264 tank, which is a 4P, and looking at it, it's actually quite a lot different. So I had a look at the Fowler 4P, and it really does not look like this. So I think, despite the liveries, I think these Wrenn ones are the BR standard class 4 tank engines. Now why then they've produce them in these liveries, I'm not too sure. Maybe some of you guys will know, but you know, possibly some preservation societies, or you know, some heritage lines may have painted some of them up into these liveries, or maybe on the other hand Wrenn have just decided to fictionalise them and you just, you know, release them in these liveries just for a bit of fun, you know. And I don't mind that, whatever it is, it's fine by me. But it is a little confusing. But I suppose it is worth bearing in mind, you know, if you're someone who likes to be realistic, it may be that these are quite fictional in their liveries. But yeah, so there's the Southern one anyway. 1927 is the running number there. And I've got the LMS red one, number 2679, that's the other Wrenn one on the track, with a rig of, I think that's 6 LMS coaches, a bit of a mixed bag of coaches there with 2 different types, but hopefully she'll look quite nice pulling those, so I'll get her running in just a second. And as I just showed you a glimpse of a minute ago, there's the Hornby one, which is running number 2311. In the LMS red, and I think that one is the one that really is the Fowler 264 locomotive. And she's got some Lima Blood and Custard coaches, including a nice restaurant car there, so hopefully she'll manage those. But first of all, let's do a little bit of slow speed performance then with this Wrenn one, and we'll see how she gets on. So I'll just give her a bit of juice and we'll see what happens. Yeah, as you can see, she's not bad at slow speeds. And typically Wrenn locomotives aren't too good at them, so this is not abnormal really, but as you can see she just sort of leap into life a little bit. And of course this has been fully serviced and tested and you know, remagnetized and oiled, so really this is as good as they get. You know, there is a bit of variation between different models, but generally this is how you can expect them to run. And of course they don't excel at slow speeds. But of course at higher speeds they really are incredible locomotives and they can pull such a lot of weight. I think what I'll do is, if I've got time for a Monday special, probably this coming Monday, I will do a little bit of a strength pulling test with these Wrenn engines and we'll see just how much they can pull. But anyway, enough chit chat, let me get this one coupled up to those, oh yeah, there's some freight I forgot to say, there it is. Various, well I tried to make a southern green freight train, so there's a lot of green wagons there and southern wagons and some other wagons that I've just chucked in there just to make up the rake of it. So she's going to go and couple up to those then, here we go. Whoa. Right, I think I've just destroyed some baked beans actually, but never mind, I'll only pretend. Okay, so as I said earlier, these locomotives really can pull an awful lot, and this little freight train really is no match for her, you know. She seriously could pull 10 times as much. But there it goes anyway, and let me start off the other Wrenn tank engine. Here she goes then, with her coaches. She should manage them quite nicely, and I think this one may be a little smoother, I'm not too sure, but either way, a great puller. There we go, and let's get the Hornby one up and running then. And of course this Hornby one has a fraction of the pulling power that the Wrenn ones do, but that's just because she's so light and she's made of plastic. But she is a very elegant looking loco, so let me get her off with her 4 coaches. And we'll watch them all run then, shall we? There's a southern one there looking really, really lovely. And the Hornby one with the blood and custard coaches, and then finally the Wrenn one again with its LMS coaches. Yep, they look great, don't they? So here are my ratings for the Wrenn 264 tank. First of all, detail 7 out of 10. The painted detail is absolutely fantastic, but the moulded and separately fitted parts do leave quite a little bit to be desired. Having said that, I would say it's well above average for locos of that sort of time. Performance again, 7 out of 10. I think their pulling power is truly astounding, and I think I'm going to show you that in a video on Monday. But they're not all that smooth sometimes at slow speeds, and they are a tad noisy. But again, still excellent performance, but I think I've just seen better. Character 8 out of 10. It is a beautiful class of locomotive. and I think it really does capture the character very nicely. So 8 out of 10 there. Build quality 10 out of 10. Of course they are solid metal, so you're not going to break them in any way. So really high marks for build quality. And similarly, value, of course, £55 for the Southern one is incredible value for money, really. So 10 out of 10 there. And I paid a little bit more for the LMS one, £60 for that one, but that's still really quite a good bargain. So 10 out of 10 there. So overall 7 out of 10. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. It's probably quite close to becoming an 8. But no, I thought 7 out of 10 was good for this one. But yeah, I really do like them. Lovely little engines, and I'll leave them running for a bit for you. They do actually look really lovely while they run, don't they? Especially that Southern one. You'll have to let me know what your favourite is. I think you can probably tell mine's the Southern one, but I mean they're all lovely, aren't they, in their own ways. It's just down to taste, I suppose. Yep, been a good running session this. It's not very often that I run tank engines, as a few people have pointed out, so it's quite nice to do this once in a while, especially with such mighty ones. But yep, everything's been running well, and really enjoyed it. Alright then everybody, well that should just about do it for today. Thank you very much for watching as always. Lovely to have your company, of course. If you did enjoy the video, please feel free to leave a like or even a comment on the video, because I do love it when you guys get in touch. But for now, again, I'll say thank you very much for watching. Please check out the Facebook and Twitter pages, and they're at facebook.com/samstrains and twitter.com/samstrains. But for now, have a great day, and I will see you very soon. Cheers everybody.